What's up everybody, Fortexfiend here, and welcome back again to the channel with some more content on SD Gundam G Generation Eternal, where in this video I'm going to be showcasing yet again another free-to-play unit within the game that you can earn. I will warn you, this type of a unit takes a little bit more time and effort, but it is still definitely worth it if you're able to put in the time. Now, before I go ahead and get started, you guys know the drill. If you enjoy what you see on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're not missing out on future uploads. Leave a like or dislike, and after you watch a little bit of the video, comment down below what you guys think of the unit that I've talked about so far. So we're going to go ahead and go into my roster here. Now, this unit is going to be Gundam X related, as that is the relevant content that is currently out in-game, and it's going to be none other than the alt unit Gundam Belphagor. Now, full disclosure, alt units are free-to-play friendly because you do not need to spend any diamonds to unlock these units. However, they do take a little bit more time and effort. First of all, you have to have completed the entire dev tree for that particular series, and because for Gundam X, they released more content for us, we can now do so. And then afterwards, you need to work your way in earning those particular alt materials, because there's two essentially upgrades that the unit gets. It starts off as an SSR, and then it goes into its first UR form because it's considered like, you know, you're building another unit. And then afterwards, you do it again. And for those particular materials, a lot of them can be found in the Eternal Road stages. You start off with a hard, and then afterwards, you can go into the expert if you're able to do so. But the good thing is that you can also use your Master League medals to also get those alt materials to get these units unlocked. So a little bit more time and effort, a little bit more materials, a lot of gold, but if you manage to do that as free to play, which is very possible, you guys can unlock these units. So the one that I went with is going to be Belphagor. I think it's very relevant, especially with the Gundam X content that we recently got. It is an attacker type unit. It has a very, I would say, respectable attack at base 11,353. But if we take a look at its abilities, one of the coolest things about these alt units is that they have a special passive where if they're fighting enemies that are from a particular series or tag, let's say, they're going to get an attack and defense increase by 30%. All of the alt units have something like this. And what's cool about that is that essentially that attack strength right there is going to shoot up to around over 14,000. And if you think about that, that's super useful, especially if you're looking for some more free-to-play options for some of the harder stages. Like, for example, we have the Eternal Road for Gundam X, both on hard and also on expert. You could definitely take the Belphagor to that and take advantage of that very unique passive. In terms of its actual weapons, I'd say it's very versatile. First off, we got ourselves a map attack, and we've seen just how effective map attacks can be within the game, especially when there's a lot of enemies cluttering the screen. It also has a pretty good, range of effect in terms of like how much AoE it'll do. So this is a really cool skill to have right over there. It does have a pretty powerful, melee type attack that only has a 1 range. This one, though, wants your HP to be a little bit lower. So if you're thinking of using this, just keep in mind, maybe run this unit with like a defense unit. So that way it's not at risk of getting killed. And then afterwards, its limiter overdrive is actually not bad. Look at that. It has a 20% chance to crit. So a 1 out of 5 chance to crit. And it also increases critical damage by 35%. The range is only at 3, but the power is pretty respectable, and if you crit, that's a lot of damage that you're going to be dealing for this particular weapon skill. And finally, its Sonic Smash Cannon has up to a range of 4. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that sweet spot 5 range that we look for in DPS units, but I think it more than it makes up for it for the type of power that it wields, especially for a free-to-play unit. Lastly, if we take a look at the details for the tags and series, it's part of Afterwar Gundam X and G Generation. It has Alternative, it has New Type Machine, it also has Tough as Nails, which are all fantastic tags to have. So I'd say that for an alt attack unit, this one is pretty solid in my opinion. It has some decent terrain capabilities too. Doesn't have that shield defense, although again, with this type of a unit having, the HP kind of at the lower end like that, you definitely want to be running it with at least 1 or 2 defenders, so that way it's not gonna be in range of getting killed. But in my opinion, especially for the current Gundam X content, it's definitely a unit worth considering. Now, in terms of pilots, of which ones that you should be using, if you want to go from a gacha standpoint, you could go for the attacker pilot, the SSR attacker pilot that's currently featured in the banner. But if you don't have that particular gacha pilot, there is this Gacha pilot that you could consider using. She has the boost critical, so if you use that and then you use that 3-range skill that has a base power of 6,000, you could potentially deal a lot of damage because your crit rate increases, and then afterwards you're dealing more critical damage. So she's going to be like your Gacha option in terms of like SSRs. However, if you want to go completely free to play and build a pilot that is going to be the most compatible with Belphagor, I'm going to say it's going to be Shagia Frost. And this is in context of if you decide to SP convert this pilot. Because first of all, if you max him, right, his range shoots up to 836, which is insanely high for an SR pilot. I mean, yeah, you're using your SP coins on him, but that's a lot of range that he's dealing, and Belphagor specializes in range damage. Not only that, but if you take a look at his skills, he has that boost range, so you can increase the range of whatever attack skill that he's using, and then he also has attack burst, which is very helpful, so that way he's dealing more damage to enemies, which for a DPS type unit is always going to be very, very important. And then finally, he has the United Nations Earth Forces tag, and as you can see right here, if we click on that, Belphagor is part of that particular tag, so he is going to be able to take advantage of his passive with in piloting Belphagor. But that's going to go ahead and conclude this particular showcase video, guys. I actually think this unit is really cool. Sure, it doesn't have that up to 5 range that some of these other range units use, but if you play around it, I think it's actually a really solid unit with a lot of cool options for either melee, AoE, or ranged combat. But let me know what you guys think down below, and also let me know which unit you guys decided for the alt units to fully go all out and upgrading. I'd love to hear it in the comment section. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.